Alrighty, so let's talk about 16.2. For 16.2, as I talked about a little bit before, I'm going to have us start working on our step 6, which is what we'll share out next week. So in this case, I want you to implement into your step, or take step 5. That's the first thing, right? We take step 5 ending code, we create a new folder called step 6, and then we copy everything over into there, do a commit there. So here what you're going to do is, before we get down into the actual getting user, I'm going to have you do that step that we did in attendance and we've been doing, which is using refactor all your modules to the imports to use object deconstruction for the functions that are called from those modules in whatever files. Most of it's the app.js, okay? And then reorganize your files. Now, what I will show you here, because I noticed I missed this on some of the attendance, is what should this look like, right? So what this should look like is you should have all your files here, right? And then just your index. Now, we haven't brought over the style and the other MD files, so really this is what your folder in this case should have in it: your CSS up in here, and then your JavaScript and only your index. Okay, so make sure you do that. Remember, when you move that into the JS, you have to update your script tag. Okay, so do that step, do your commit 10 points for that. And then HTML and CSS. So in this case, refer back to the HTML, and we kind of updated. We did a first round of the CSS, and then we added little few things here at the end. So just go and grab all that HTML and CSS and update your your code with that at this point. And then you can use the same names as you did in the carbon footprint. I'm fine with that. Like I said before, I'm actually going to modify to not still get Latin long through get user location, which is what you're re-implementing now. And I'm going to get AQI, but I'm also going to get current temperature. Right, so I started thinking about that this week. So the more you do this week, the less you have to do next, I suppose. And in these commits, if you wanted to start thinking about that, you could. So in this case, right, use your CSS classes. Now do update those for your color palette. What was interesting is mine actually already matched what they had set up. What we had set up in the style had already matched, but I'm still going to play with it. So HTML and CSS updated, okay? So that's where you go grab and create that new CSS file. And then in the last one or two code alongs, we've updated that CSS to include some of that. Actually, it was in this last one where we gave the styling to the AQI. So include that as well. Okay, and then in get user location. So in this case, make sure I only want to see, and the reason I'm actually doing this is to review the code that just handles get user location, right? So create your data service and your integrator module files. Now, can you use the same as the AQI? That's fine with me. I'm going to do it because I'm using the AQI. If you don't think you're going to do it, change the file names, right? So, and then integrate just the user location code into your code base and use the same code that we use for the carbon footprint. And then update the UI, right? In this case, this is just part of that code base that we did with Latin long and handle errors, and then fix any issues. And then that's your commit. Okay, so 70 and then 30 is 100 points. So here's my output here. Like I said, it actually kind of matched some of mine as well, but I'm going to do a little more work. But I did change the title to local AQI and current temp, because that's the other thing I'm going to integrate for the final version for that. Okay, so this should be, I actually was pretty straightforward. Didn't take me very long to get this one done. So what I will look for is, are your commits on point? Is there any errors in the code, which is great. Don't include that config.json.js that we had, the AQI API in the URL. We'll do that next time for that. So in addition, because this is Thanksgiving, of course, I'm not going to have something due on Thanksgiving. I'm not going to change the due date, but just know as long as it gets turned in by Monday after Thanksgiving, you're fine. And as well, I actually just removed for this week any code challenge for this because I feel like this is a good way to end week 16 moving into the end of this semester. Okay, hope this helps. Have fun with it. Think about how you would customize this for your own app. Again, we'll share out next week. And on attendance, I'll cover just the final things we need to think about. All right, talk to you later. Have a good Thanksgiving. Enjoy.